Here are solutions to homework set number 10 for ECE 376 embedded systems. This homework set looks at timer interrupts and INT interrupts on a PIC 18F4620 microcontroller. The first problem looks at timer 0. Now timer 0 can measure time to 100 nanoseconds, which is really impressive. The way you do that is I've got the timer running in the background. The timer 0 counts every clock. So every clock, this counts, that's 100 nanoseconds. It's a 16-bit counter. So when it wraps around, I'm going to trigger an interrupt. This is your 32-bit variable called time. I will increment this at this point, which is that is hex 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Put the two together. Here's the high 16 bits, low 16 bits. I've got a 32-bit time. Now in code, what that looks like is this. So I've got the interrupt running in the background. Every to the 16th clocks, or 6.5 milliseconds, I interrupt, increment the 17th bit. The total time then is that 16-bit variable or 32-bit variable time. The low 16 bits is timer 0. That's the current time. To see how long something takes, I'll record the time before the event happens. Do something like wait 4,000 milliseconds. Record the time when I'm done. The difference is how long it took. So if I compile that, project, build, download it. Here's the super amazing Flash tool program. Then look at the answer. This is how long it took to do that. So this should take 4 seconds. It's actually 3.9691126 seconds. The time measured insanely accurately. If you also notice, the number changes. So because it depends upon how many interrupts get called during that time, the actual time varies. If you're getting a time varying answer, that means statistics. What I should do is find the mean, standard deviation, find the 90% confidence interval. For this homework set, if you just put down a single number, good enough. So that's how long it takes to count or to wait 4,000 milliseconds. There's an LCD out routine. If I do this, output the number 2.718 with 5 digits, 3 decimal points. Here's how long it takes. If instead I say, how long does it take to push the button 5 times? And this is what's nice about the bootloader that we have. Really easy modifying code and changing it. So here's the new improved code. I'm going to push the button 5 times. See how long that took. Let's do build. Took 2762 bytes. Reset. Program. Here's the code downloading. You can see that with the flashing light. When it's done flashing, I can record how long that takes. So now it's waiting for me to hit the button 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 2.508. Let's try that again. So it took me 0.4115235 seconds to hit the button 5 times. Insanely accurate reading. That's timer 0. With timer 0, I can measure time to 1 clock, 100 nanoseconds. Problem 2 says, let's output 4 frequencies. The point behind this one is interrupts do not affect interrupts. I can play 4 different notes at the same time. I'll just use 4 different timer interrupts. Here's the frequency that I want. N is the number of clocks. That's 10 million divided by 2 times frequency. That's how many clocks between interrupts. To do that, I will, well, these are easy. That's just N. Talk about that in a sec. Timer 2 is kind of the hardball. I've got to find A times B times C. That's close to 34,052. The best I could do is A is 14, B is 152, C is 16. Gives me this frequency. To set that up, here's T2con. These 4 bits are A. 13 means 14. 11 means 16. In hexadecimal, that's 0110, 6, 1111F. So T2con is 6F. For PR2, B minus 1 is PR2. So if I do that, I will use the same file and do, I think I call this one chord. Here's the new improved code. I'm going to turn on 4 different interrupts. Each one, well, this is timer 0. The reason 50 is in there is it takes about 50 clocks to trigger the interrupt, so this number's off by 50. Timer 1, timer 2, timer 3. Notice these are a whole lot easier to set up than timer 2. Enable timer 0, enable timer 1, enable, enable, global enable, and here the main loop doesn't really do anything. If I build that, then download it. Since it's the same project, I don't have to change this part right here. It's still homework10.hex, the name of the project. And here's what that looks like. So here I've got chord. It's counting on port B really, really fast. Looks like the LED's burned out. I can see what those frequencies are with a frequency counter, or take it to a speaker. There's button 0, timer 0. There's the different notes. If I use a frequency counter, I can measure those frequencies a little bit more accurate. Otherwise, you can use your piano tuner app on your cell phone to measure the frequencies. And what I wound up with, go back to the table. Here's the measured frequency, the target frequency, and they're really, really close. That's one of the beauties of interrupts. Back when we had C code, I'd have to sit there and play around with the wait routine, try to get the frequency correct. With interrupts, I can calculate it. If here's so many clocks between interrupts, I can go in and set it up so that's precisely how many clocks are between interrupts. If I got that number just right, it'll be dead on within 1 clock. 50 is kind of a ballpark. It takes about 50 clocks to trigger the interrupt. So this number's off by about 50 clocks. Close, but a little bit off. So that's example with a chord. Interrupts do not conflict. I can do multiple things at the same time. I can have interrupts changing interrupts. So this is a digital servo motor. Whether it's in your kit. To get that to work, I want to put a pulse. So one way I'm going to do that is have timer 0 always set, then timer 1 always clears. When timer 1 is triggered, it will set up the timer 0 interrupt between 0.5 and 2.5 milliseconds in the future. That pulse width is what controls the digital servo motor. Now to do that, I'll have a C program using timer 0 and timer 1. Timer 0 will set every 50 milliseconds. That's 500,000 clocks. I can't do 500,000. The counters on the PIC processor are only 16 bits. The biggest I can do with 16 bits is 65,000. So that's where the prescalers come in. Add a prescaler of 8, then 8 times 62,000 is 50,000. That's what happens over here. Every 50 milliseconds, timer 0 kicks in. Every 50 milliseconds, RC0 is set. I also set up timer 1 and 1 clocks in the future. And 1 is changed down here. So I'll have a counter going from 50 to 250 times 100, going from 5,000 clocks, 0.5 milliseconds, to 2.5 milliseconds in the future. Timer 1 kicks in. When timer 1 kicks in, it'll clear. I'll then go from 2.5 down to 0.5. Let's do project build, and then download. If I can find it. Download, here's what's happening. So this is the pulse width in milliseconds. Here's the digital servo motor. Darker background so you can see it. And you can see the motors going back and forth. If I change the pulse width, I can control this motor. Okay, so that was fun. Now the last part is build an Ouija board. So within the Ouija board, I'm going to hit a push button that triggers an INT interrupt. It will then pick a random number, go back and forth, and then point at a letter. So here's the INT interrupt. When it happens, it generates a random number. Here I'm just going to use timer 0, counting really, really fast in the background. Timer 0 mod 13 is my random number. I will then take a random letter going between N to Z, or A to Z, or 0 through 9. Append that to the previous message, and for debugging, wait 10 milliseconds. You normally don't want to do that in interrupts, but here he's getting a problem with bouncing. And then wait 10 milliseconds. In the meantime, the servo motor is going back and forth, pointing. So what the main routine does is I turn on all the interrupts. I then wait for you to hit the button. When I hit it, I will clear out the old message, append the new message. That's the clear message command. Or if I hit a button, 0, 1, 2, or 3, I will go back and forth a couple times, and then stop at an angle corresponding to that letter. So that's like on your Ouija board. Which letter do I point to? So to see how that works, we'll go back over here, select the new improved program. Again, writing these I did offline. Here's the actual C code. When I compile it, this code is 2,616 bytes. I'll hit reset, download the new improved code. So if I hit this button, it goes back and forth, searches for the right letter, and the first symbol is a D. Got two of them, there's a little bit of bouncing on the key. E. P. Okay, so here's how it works. I'm going to clear the message, then ask a question. What's going to happen to NDSU as we go to Division 1, joining the Big Sky Conference this year? Okay, so let's use the Ouija board, have the spirits tell us what's going to happen to NDSU going to Division 1. E. E. Okay, something about electrical engineering. X. Maybe it will be an excellent season. G. Okay, it seems like random letters here. B. How about a number? Okay, so that's what's going to happen to NDSU. It's going to be EEXGB9. I'm not really sure what that means. I kind of suspect we have interference from UND, but that's NDSU's fortune based upon this Ouija board. So that was homework set number 10 for 376 embedded systems. Using a PIC processor, we have INT interrupts, timer 0 interrupts, timer 1 interrupts, timer 2. With the interrupts, I can read push buttons. I can output precise frequencies. I can do pulse widths. Interrupts are confusing, but they're really powerful. If you figure them out, I can do all sorts of things. So again, that's homework set 11 or 10 for 376.